Good evening, everyone. Okay, we are continuing with Reverend Ike's study guide. Uh, we are on chapter 20. The last one was chapter 19, and that was How Sweet It Is, and that was for Mother's Day week. So, chapter 20 is the mental equivalent, and it says here, Arise, walk through the land in the length of it and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto you. Genesis 13:17. A science of living principle. Whatever you want, you must first have the idea of it in your mind. If you have the idea, and if you have the faith in that idea, then it shall manifest itself in your experience. A few years ago, I was in a Rolls Royce showroom in San Francisco, looking at some of those nice Rolls Royces. A young man who was also looking at those Rolls Royces recognized me and came over to meet me. He said to me, Reverend Ike, I want you to pray for me so that I can get this Rolls Royce. I decided to be rather blunt with him and simply said, I will not, because you are not ready for it. Now, that may sound rather harsh to you, so let me explain. Are you mentally prepared? You already have everything that you are ready for. If you don't have something, you are not ready for it. You might think you are, but mentally, you are not. The late Emmett Fox used the term mental equivalent to refer to this same principle. It means that before you can have anything, you must first have the idea of it in your mind. We are both saying the same thing, only with different words. You can only have objectively that which you have the mental equivalent of subjectively. Reverend Knight goes on. Are you imprisoned by your circumstances? Whatever good you want, first possess the idea of it in your mind. Never mind what you don't have objectively. That is where people get hung up so many times. People get so hung up on what they don't have that it kills their creative power to think about what they can have. People are so hung up on I can't be and I don't have, they are really hung up on I don't have. A young lady once said to me, Reverend, don't tell me to say I'm rich when I don't have any money. I don't have any money, and don't tell me to say anything different. But if all you can do is think of your present circumstances, then you imprison yourself in your present circumstances. For those of you just joining, I'm reading from Reverend Ike's study guide. I'm in chapter 20, the mental equivalent. Whatever good you want, first possess the idea of it in your mind. You must feel the idea of the good you desire in your mind, in your heart. Let me give you some plain, practical, capitalistic examples. If you want a new house, you must first of all have the idea of that new house in your mind. You must possess the mental equivalent of that house in your mind. This is why I teach you to visualize, to go into the theater of your mind and see yourself walking in that new house. Go to the refrigerator, open the door, and get a snack out of it. See yourself drinking your favorite beverage, whatever it is, out of that refrigerator. Go into the new bedroom and stretch out on the new mattress. Very like something, right? Many times in a visualization treatment, I will send you to the wall where the safe is, behind the drapery. Open up that safe and see all the money, the jewels, and the bank books you desire. See yourself having all the good you desire. All of this mental activity, which I call visualization, helps you develop the mental equivalent of the good that you desire. You already have everything you are ready for. I like to reread lines that catches me or gets my attention, those aha moments. And this one right here, you already have everything you are ready for. That gets me. It's like, I already have everything I'm ready for. Okay. Behold the good you desire. You remember in Genesis, the Lord told Abraham to lift up his eyes and walk through the land, the length of it and the breadth of it, for I will give it unto you. Genesis 13:17. What does this mean? This means that whatever good you can see and feel and have the mental equivalent of will come to you. The presence and power of God in you will provide. The presence and power of God in you will provide. Everything that you are ready for is ready for you. Everything that you are ready for is ready for you. I preached a sermon once and I used these words. Everything that you are ready for is ready for you. You now have everything that you are ready for. Whatever you don't have it because you're not ready for it. You don't have the mental equivalent of it yet. And that is why I teach you to raise your consciousness, to develop the mental equivalent of the increasing good that you desire. That is why I tell you that when you want something, write it down. I'll say that again. That is why I tell you when you want something, write it down. Write the vision and make it plain. It helps you build the mental equivalent of the good you desire. Raise your consciousness to develop the mental equivalent of the increasing good that you desire. Many times when people say to me, Reverend, I pray for me to get such and such a thing, I'll ask them bluntly, are you ready for it? They usually say, oh, yes. And I say, oh, no, you're not. Because if you were ready for it, you would have it. You have right now exactly what you're ready for. I'm going to say that one again. You have right now exactly what you're ready for. You have right now exactly what your mind can accommodate, and so have I. I have made this following statement before. The amount of money that you have exactly matches your mental readiness for money. Mm. The amount of money that you have exactly matches your mental readiness for money. If you only have a little money, you are only ready for a little. You only have the mental equivalent of a little money. People will swear up and down, oh, yes, I'm ready for a lot more money, but that is simply the intellect talking. You know what they mean when they say that they're ready for it? They mean that the idea of having it blows their minds. It's not much deeper, is not much deeper. However, than wishful dreaming, And I don't want you to think that what I'm dealing with here is just some type of wishful dreaming. I'm not trying to teach you wishful dreaming. I'm teaching you positive visualization, and there's a difference. Positive visualization is seeing and feeling good you desire in the depth of your subconscious mind. Wishful dreaming is just idle wishing without really believing. You have right now exactly what you're ready for. You have right now what your mind can accommodate. You can only get that which you already have. Oh, Reverend Ike. I'm in Reverend Ike's Study Guide, chapter 20, for those of you just joining or watching the replay. You can get the book on ReverendIkeLegacy.com. Okay, let me continue. You can only get that which you already have. Listen, whenever you have a good desire that comes into your mind, ask yourself this question. Do I have the mental equivalent of this? And then go to work immediately in building the mental equivalent in your consciousness. You can only get that which you already have. You cannot have what you do not have. You cannot acquire what you do not already have in your mind as a mental equivalent. Once you establish in your mind the mental equivalent of the good you desire, it will come to you. It will be drawn to you, and you will be drawn to it. What may seem to you on the objective level like happenstance will be your own mind power, connecting you with the right people, the right events, the right modus operandi for achieving your good purposes. Things will happen to you because you are mentally prepared. Good things will happen to you because you have the consciousness, the correct self awareness for the good that you desire. I want to say it once again, and it sounds somewhat like a riddle. You cannot have what you do not have. You cannot get what you do not already have in your mind as a mental equivalent. I've got it. There's a young boy in this ministry who is now 13 years of age. He first wrote to me and adopted me when he was 9 years of age. Many of you have seen him with me on television. His name is Mark Jefferson. A few years ago, he brought his mother a beautiful home with a swimming pool. You cannot have what you do not have. Good things began happening to Mark when he was 9 years old. He had written me a letter and said, "Dear Reverend Knight, I want you to pray for me to get a job on television and in the theater so that I could buy myself some new clothes and buy my mother a house." After he wrote me that letter, he went for a job interview. There were a lot of kids there that day, and he was one of the first children who was interviewed. When he came out, he looked at his mother and said, "I've got it." And his mother asked, "What do you mean? All these other children here haven't been interviewed yet." But Mark said, "Oh, but I've got it." They went home and he didn't hear anything about the interview for a few days. But every day when he came home from school for lunch, Mark would say to his mother, "Did the studio call yet?" "Well, that's all right. I got it." About the third day, his mother said, "The studio called and you got it." He was paid several $100s a day to start. Pretty good for a little 9-year-old, isn't it? Notice what Mark said right after the interview. "I've got it." He had the mental equivalent of what he wanted. He had it in his mind, he had it in his feelings. All of this mental activity, which I call visualization, helps you develop the mental equivalent of the good that you desire. I'm always amazed by Mark. He bought a new car and sits in the back seat reading the Wall Street Journal while his mother chauffeurs him around. He tells his mother, "Stick with me, mommy. I'll see you through. I'll take care of you." That's so cool. Expose yourself to the good you desire. I tell my congregation in New York, always buy the Wall Street Journal. Even if you don't know what it's all about, carry it with you. Your subconscious mind knows what it is and will pick up a certain feeling, a certain mentality from it. Your subconscious mind knows that the Wall Street Journal is associated with high finance. That is why I tell you also to be sure to get those high class, high living magazines like Town and Country. If you don't want to read it all, just look at the pictures. Your subconscious mind understands all of this. All of this helps you to build a mental equivalent of money, affluence, opulence, and luxury. And whatever you have the mental equivalent of will come into your life. Wow. That's a good, well, goodness gracious. I'm reading for those of you just joining from Reverend Ike's Study Guide, Chapter 20, The Mental Equivalent. We just finished the chapter, and Reverend Ike always ends with quotes to remember. You can only get that which you already have. That quote is by Reverend Ike. It is the mind that makes the body rich. That's by William Shakespeare. Mind moves matter. That's by Virgil. Man's work is an extension of himself, is a revelation of himself, is a revelation of his inner life, both to others and to himself. That's by Richard Lynch. Undertake something that is difficult. It will do you good. Unless you try to do something beyond what you have already mastered, you will never grow. That's by Ronald Osborne. And this is the affirmative treatment that Reverend Ike has at the end of his chapter. And I'll read it now. Affirmative treatment. I see myself being what I want to be. I see myself doing what I want to do. I see myself having exactly what I want to have. I'm not taking whatever comes along. I have decided what I want to be, to do, and to have, and I now see it in my mind. I feel it. I establish the mental equivalent of it right here and right now. Thank you, Father. Thank you, God, and me. I've got it. That's such a good chapter. And as always, Reverend Ike ends with review questions. And I think I said in one of the early chapters that I read. If you want to go over the questions live, just let me know and we could do that. But here are the review questions. 1, what is the difference between wishful dreaming and positive visualization? 2, define mental equivalent. 3, discuss what happens when you establish in your mind a mental equivalent of something. 4, what happens when you only think of your present circumstances? We know that answer, right? 5, are you imprisoned by your circumstances? Discuss how. What are you going to do about it? 6, what does Reverend Ike mean when he says you can only have that which you already have? That was a good chapter, right? Yeah, I really enjoyed it. The mental equivalent, chapter 20, from Reverend Ike's Secrets for Health, Joy, and Prosperity. For you, you can get the study guide, ebook, or regular hard copy on ReverendIkeLegacy.com. Okay, I'll be away for a few days. I'm going to New York City, so I'll see you all next week for chapter 21. Don't let the stars get in your eyes. That got to be a good one, too. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for joining me.